All right, now let's talk about your personal brand. But what does that mean, your personal brand? Well, your brand is simply how people see you and the value that you bring. For example, if I say touch phone, perhaps you think Apple. If I say search engine, you might think Google. And now you might argue it's not the same. I'm a person, not a company. And while that's true, like those companies, you do have a product to sell. And that product is you and your services. The companies that you're applying to are your customers. Let's say you want to be a project manager. Now ask yourself, when people think of you, do they think project manager? Or when they think project manager, do they think of you? Because that's the brand that you need to create. When hiring managers and recruiters look at you or they think of you, you want them to see and think you are the person for the job. You are who they're looking for. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, that's where your personal brand comes in. And that's where you can use LinkedIn to create and share such a brand. You see, LinkedIn allows you to reach hundreds or thousands of recruiters and hiring managers and companies. It allows you to create a profile and write your brand the same way you want to be known. So similarly to the approach you took when writing your resume, you must always keep your target audience in mind and then create a brand to speak to them. LinkedIn has become the go-to place when potential employers are interested in learning more about you. Here, they get to see your face, your history, your activity. All in all, they get to see your brand. And that will either motivate them or deter them from contacting you. So your LinkedIn profile and brand are extremely important because this is your sales page. It's your 24-hour resume. It literally works for you while you're sleeping, and it has the potential to present you with opportunities that you didn't even know existed. And that's a very good thing. So let's talk about your personal brand. Do you remember when we talked about the resume? We talked and we said that there is about 6 to 10 seconds of their attention span before they decide they're going to spend more time on you or not. Well, with your brand, especially your LinkedIn profile, it's the same. And there are 3 things that they will look at the moment they land on your page before deciding whether or not to spend more time on you. And that is your profile picture, your headline, and your banner. Now, all of these must work together to confirm their assumptions that you are the person for the job. So, some best practices for this: your picture should be clear and approachable. A headshot with a smile is probably the best option. Your headline should be clear. It should be crystal clear on what you do and the value that you bring. And your banner should reinforce your brand and make sure that your banner adds to it. It does not distract from it. So collectively, these 3 items are the first impression of your brand. But that's not all. Your entire profile must speak to the brand that you want to be known for. Your feature section is a great place to start. It can display previous posts, newsletters, perhaps some media. You can share links to other websites, like if you have a personal projects page or perhaps a video that talks about the target role that you want, that you have found particularly helpful. All of these, however, must be related to that brand. They must be related to that target. Then you have your activities section. And we'll talk more about this in the networking lessons, but here too, these must show that you are actively engaging with others in your brand, in that field of interest. Beyond that, you have your about section. And this is where you can get creative and really speak to the reader. My main suggestion here is to write it and then get feedback from others from that particular field and see if it's aligning with that brand, if it's actually speaking to the people that you want to be speaking, if it's, causing hiring managers and recruiters of your target job to reach out and engage with you. Additionally, what you can do to make this section better, you can just copy and paste it onto a website called Hemingway app, which is going to show you just how hard or how easy it is for people to read your about section. The easier it is to read, the less mental power that they have to exert on your writing, and the more they're likely to engage with you. On top of that, you have your experience, your education, your certifications, your skills. All of these must align to the requirements of the job that you're seeking, just like your resume. Now, at this point, I often get a question that is, if I'm applying to multiple different roles, how do I manage my brand? Or do I need to keep changing it? To which my answer is simply, well, you can, but I don't advise it. Your brand takes a lot of time to build. And this is precisely why it's so important to have a clear destination, a target job. You can keep your brand relatively general at the beginning, but that won't hurt you, but it's also not going to help you. Think of it like this. If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. If your brand is general and targeted to multiple roles and multiple fields, you're not really standing out in any of them. But if your brand is focused on a specific need or specific customer, then it stands out. So figure out what your customer is, figure out your target, and then build a brand that speaks to it. So that's your homework. Be sure to go to LinkedIn, update it, and once you have your LinkedIn and your resume, you have laid the foundation and we can begin to start getting interviews, because those two pieces are crucial so that when somebody asks you, can you give me your resume? Are you on LinkedIn? You can confidently say yes, and you can be sure that these two are going to be speaking to the target job that you want.